There are some people in their workplace, your coworkers, the little sly comments that they're making to you about certain things about yourself, those are actually your superpowers. Being yourself has always been your superpower, and I'm here to explain exactly how and why. Being authentic to yourself will always get you what you want quickest, and I feel like authenticity, authentic this, authentic that is always being thrown around, especially on social media. But why is it important to be authentic, and how do we find authenticity? So I'm going to explain to you exactly why it's important and how to find your authentic self. I want to preface this by saying that a lot of people are walking around thinking that they're being their authentic self, but not realizing that there are so many rules and guides and other people's personalities and things that are societal norms that are actually conforming you. And it's actually making you sway certain decisions and follow certain paths simply because that is what society is wanting. I want you to know that having personality and also having decorum, those are two different things. So just because you listen on how to be more feminine or how to get what you want, it doesn't mean that we're robbing you of your authenticity as long as you still have your personality. So authenticity and personality are very similar in the sense that that is something that is really unique to you, and no one should be able to change that or conform that to something else. Let's start by saying this. There are always two paths in life. There's the long path and then there's a short path. The long path is where you follow societal norms. So maybe if it's, you know, that you have something on your heart or you're a certain way when you're younger and you do things because it's what you believe your parents want you to do, it's what your family wants you to do, it's what society deems as normal. So you take that path and then you get to a point at some point in your life, because it happens to all of us, where you're like, this isn't me, this isn't what I want to do, and then you are forced to change everything, or you just continue to live the same life until the end of time, which that does happen too. Or there's the short path, which is where you really lean into your authentic self and you do things that might be deemed as weird or not a societal norm, and on the outside it looks so wrong, but on the inside it feels so right, and it's actually the shortest way to get exactly what you want in life. And this is the path that I want to encourage you to take, is the short, authentic, weird path. Keeping your authenticity through life will always be the shortest path, and I really want you to encourage this, especially if you're a young woman or man right now watching this video. It may seem odd to feel the way that you feel on the inside and have people on the outside look at you and say, no, that's weird, that's not normal, you shouldn't do that. It might feel off because that is what we are bred to understand and bred to believe, but being authentic to yourself is what is going to get you what you want the quickest way. I want to give you examples of how authenticity can appear wrong to other people. So in dating, authenticity can be like, don't be yourself because you might scare away that person. This is ridiculous. Now, scare away that person, whatever the heck that means. I was always told that, like, oh, be careful, you know, just don't show all of your personality at once because you just don't want to scare them away, or don't tell them your true intentions because it might scare them away. That is taking away from your authentic self, where there's the other part where it's if you do go into the date being your authentic self and you do state your intentions and you have your same personality and you aren't worried about how they are going to perceive you as a person, they are either going to like it or they won't like it. If you go in and you are not your authentic self, they are eventually going to see your authentic self, and at that point they are going to decide whether they like it or not. And if it's the latter, if it's not like it, then you're just taking the longer path that is actually going to be harder and more detrimental in the long term. This applies to dating, this applies to the workplace, this applies to relationships with your family. Always be yourself, and I'm going to tell you how to be yourself and find ways to really lean into your authentic self later, but I really want you to understand that in the simplest of terms, being yourself might feel weird and it might feel scary and it might be faced with a lot of rejection, but rejection quickly leads to what you want faster. Prolonging rejection leads to what you don't want longer. You're watching this video because you're a person who is self-aware and the person who's in tune with themselves, or a person who wants to work on themselves. So in the workplace, if you're thinking about money, if you're thinking about this looks really good on paper, or this is going to get me a really good career long term, but you have no joy in it, you feel like it goes against your values, you feel like you don't get to use your actual personal skills in it, which honestly in a lot of my career I just did it because I simply thought like, oh, this is going to pay really well, or this is a really lucrative career. And then at some point I found myself being like, there's no alignment here. No matter what you do in life, you're going to get to a place where you're going to have to reevaluate and face yourself, and you're going to decide whether you're going to stick with that thing that you're doing that is not aligned, or you're going to have to completely pivot. Let's talk about ways to be more authentic, because I think that it's frustrating when you hear these business owners who are like, yeah, I went against the grain and I did this and I got this. It can be really daunting and being like, okay, well, how do I be authentic in my current position right now? Because all of us have to work jobs in order to make money and survive, and all of us have to do certain things to be able to function within society, but within that we can find our authentic selves ourselves, and within that we can find the things that we're really good at and what makes us unique. The first thing that you need to have is self-awareness. You need to ask yourself a lot of questions, and some of these questions might be uncomfortable. So right now, if you are someplace that you are in life that is not where you want to be, you need to start asking yourself, why am I here? What got me here? Why do I continue to stay here? What does it look like for me to change? How risky is it for me to change? Is the risk worth it? These are all questions that you need to ask yourself. I had someone ask me a very uncomfortable question last year, which actually just reprogrammed my entire brain, and which is why I'm even doing these YouTube videos the way that I'm doing them now. But he basically said, okay, what are you doing for work? And this is when I worked full-time in pharmaceuticals. And I was like, well, I do pharmaceuticals. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to be in television. I want to be in the health and wellness space. I had all these grand plans. And he said, what are you doing right now to get there? And I told him, well, I do content creation on the side. And he's like, okay, so what are you doing in the wellness space? Because this is really before I was like posting a lot about my wellness and a lot about like public speaking. I wasn't really posting on YouTube public speaking. I was posting on YouTube more like vlogs and stuff like that. And I literally had to look at myself and think, what I'm doing for my full-time job is paying the bills, yes, but it is running hard in the wrong direction. So you have to ask yourself, are you working hard in the wrong direction, or are you working hard towards the things that you actually want? And that was something that, as self-aware as I am, I had to sit and look at myself and think, I'm working really hard in the opposite direction of what I want on my heart. So these are uncomfortable questions that you are going to have to ask yourself. What is being authentic to you? What are you doing right now that feels inauthentic to you? What are you doing right now that feels authentic to you? And are you doing things that are working in the direction that you actually want to be in? The second thing that you're going to have to reprogram your brain to think is you need to stop thinking your way through life, and you need to start feeling your way through life. And again, this is going to take a reconstructing of the mind. This is going to take a long time to understand like how to start feeling your way versus thinking your way, because we're all very reasonable people. We all use reason in order to make decisions in our life, but we need to start listening to our body, because your body will tell you something before your brain can reason and catch up to it. Have you ever met someone and you're like, ooh, I have kind of a bad gut feeling, but because they appear nice, you just continue to be their friend, or you continue to build that relationship, whatever, and then it ends poorly. That is your body feeling something, and that is your mind rationalizing and reasoning when the two aren't aligning. So now what I want you to do is, whenever you're thinking about something that you want, I want you to start paying attention to how your body feels. I want you to start to think, do I feel joy when I'm doing this? Do I feel happiness when I'm doing this? Do I feel curiosity when I'm doing this? Curiosity is one of the biggest indicators that you are going in the right direction. And once you start to realize that curiosity is this feeling that makes you want to know more, and because you want to know more, it is showing you that you have a deep interest in it, that is going to be when you start pushing and moving towards the things that you actually want. Some people are going to come back and they're going to say, well, what makes me feel joyful? What makes me feel happy? Shopping makes me feel happy. Getting gifts, what makes me feel happy? Yes, but that is short-term happiness. Have you ever bought something and then when you're home, you put it on the shelf and then you forget about it and then you're like, oh, it's back into the cycle? But joy and feeling happiness when something is actually aligned and right is different. Like when I do something to better my wellness, it is like this lasting joy that it doesn't just disappear. I feel good. I feel energized. I'm like, ooh, I want to go tackle the day. When I was doing my podcast, I would leave my podcast interviews and be like, I have so much energy right now, which I am like the least energetic person because I struggle with actual fatigue, but I would leave these interviews and I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so energized. Why? It wasn't just because I was good at it, but it was because it was in alignment with something that I wanted. So I really want to encourage you guys, listen to your body. Some people, after they get a workout, they feel really good, they feel energized. That doesn't mean that you need to go get a career in being a personal trainer, but that is something that is in alignment with you, and keep doing more of that. The more you keep doing these things that feel good, the more that you're going to be pushing towards the things that your body and that your mind and that your subconscious actually want. The third thing that I really want you to do in order to find your authenticity and start leaning more into it is think about your childhood. I've been doing a lot of inner child work, and this sounds really woo-woo to some people, but it's not woo-woo at all. It's actually just evaluating, because we are human beings, but we are very complex beings. We are spiritual beings. We have so much going on that is outside of just the flesh. Our subconscious holds so much of what we went through in childhood, or so much of what we experienced in childhood. So what I want you to do is think about all the things that you maybe got made fun of, or people commented on when you were young, and that made you feel outcasted about, or made you feel weird about. Those are the things that are actually part of your true authenticity. I'll give some examples. Growing up, I was always called extra, high maintenance. You can talk a lot. Oh, you're such a smooth talker, as if it was a negative thing. And when I look back and I think about, oh my gosh, those are actually the things that make me really unique and me really special, is that I care. I'm high maintenance because I want the best in every situation that I'm in, and that's going to make me do different things to get where I am. I'm high maintenance because I do not settle. I am a smooth talker because communication is my strong suit, because it's what I'm good at. I'm extra because I was born to entertain. I am an entertainer. I'm someone who just naturally likes and doesn't mind being the center of attention. And that is something that I got made fun of or made to feel like it was weird when I was younger. But I'm like, that is a life skill. That is something that makes you really unique. And as you grow up and as you start conforming to these things, you start thinking, all the things that made me weird as a child are actually my superpower in modern day. So I really want you to think, if you are like, oh, nothing makes me special, I don't feel authentic, I don't feel like anything really sets me apart from anyone else, I want you to think back, what was I made fun of as a child, or even to this day. There are some people in their workplace, your coworkers, the little sly comments that they're making to you about certain things about yourself, those are actually your superpowers. Here he goes, he's such a teacher's pet. No, you're someone who recognizes that authority can actually help you get where you want. So you're actually a very smart person. You're not a teacher's pet. You're always doing the most in work. You're always coming dressed like it's a gala. Oh, so you know how important that presentation is to getting what you want. Okay, so you're really self-aware. That's what it shows me. Oh, okay, you know how to put an outfit together. Those are your superpowers. And so I really want you to start thinking about all the little comments that people make if you don't know what your special thing is. And I want you to start writing those down. I want you to journal these things, because this is gonna start to help you get into alignment. I want you to also make a list of 10 things that bring you joy. Think about your day to day. Everything that you do in a day, even if it is putting on makeup, even if it is drinking a glass of water, if that brings you joy or you feel slightly energized after, or if it's something that just makes you feel good internally, and I'm not even talking about emotionally, I'm talking about physically, write that down, because these are all the things that are gonna help you to find your most authentic self. Now, I wanna bring that back to why this is important and why this is gonna get you exactly what you want. Because if you're thinking about it in a dating context, the quicker that you're able to sift through people who might not actually like your personality for you, the quicker you're able to find someone who is. For me personally, I'm a very direct person. I'm very intentional. I know exactly what you want. And so when I was dating these men who wanted to play, a lot of them were like, oh no, she's too serious for me. I'm not ready for that. But guess what I was doing? In the moment, it felt lonely. I was like, oh, okay, why can't I be one of these girls who always has a man on her hip and all these things? But in reality, it was because I'm not willing to play with men who want to play with me. And I'm giving off the energy, this is the kind of girl that you need to treat accordingly. And so I'm quickly sifting through the people who are not meant for me and waiting for the person who is meant for me. So think about that in your life. If you're a person who people are always telling you, oh, you're a little too intentional, or oh, like you're a little too straightforward, or all these things, you are not prolonging your happiness. You're feeling rejection in the moment and you're feeling unhappiness in the moment, but it's quickly helping you sift through faster what is not meant for you. Think of it in a career setting. If you are refusing to just do the mundane thing and you have a passion that you're really excited about and something that energizes you and something that could potentially be a business opportunity, but from the outside, it looks like a really big mistake or it looks like a really big risk, you are basically quickly figuring out whether or not that thing is for you. And if it's not for you, you're able to jump to the next thing. But if it is for you, it could soar and take off. So this is actually how you get exactly what you want. It looks messy, it looks weird, it looks non-conventional from the outside, but it is actually what is going to get you what you want. I want to circle it back and say it is great to learn tools on how to be a better person, how to be more feminine if you want to be more feminine, how to be more articulate if you want to be articulate, but this does not change your personality. I will always have my personality and you will always have your personality, and your personality is what makes you unique, and the skills that you learn is what makes you more advanced and better. So just keep this in mind, because I really want you to get what you want, and you will get what you want, but just keep understanding that authenticity is going to push you in the direction that you want to be. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, because it was just like this revelation that came to my mind, and I was like, the more authentic I'm being, the more I'm getting what I want. And I'm confused, because I'm like, wait, I'm slowly living in some of these prayers, and it's not conventional and it feels scary and it feels weird, but like even the little wins are feeling great. Me getting to 5K subscribers on here is almost like this dream, because when I was younger I wanted to be a YouTuber, but I wasn't taking the actions to be there, because for some reason in my mind I was like, okay, if I show my true personality or if I talk about these topics, no one's gonna care, no one's gonna listen, no one's gonna understand. But there's you guys understand, you guys listen, you guys care. So the same applies to you. Whatever it may be for you, just keep leaning in, being yourself, being opinionated, whatever it may be. Don't be afraid of getting backlash, because again, it's going to sift out the things that are for you and push out the things that are not for you. If you guys have any future videos that you want to see from me, don't forget to comment that in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah.